I would like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? I hope this week is off to a good start for everyone, that you've got warm weather, cool temperatures, and pleasant skies. Welcome to King Dolphin TV. You know me, I am Raymond Feliciano, the author of the Dolphin Wars series of books. Once again, I am pleased to be here for another special interview. Before we get started, let me welcome the ones that keep this channel going and keep us safe. We have the Wrench Team Supreme, Legatus Legionii, John Rendell, and Snortopupus Q. Burr. And leading them all and in charge of everything here is my producer and prime wrencher, Sandra. How are you all doing? Right now we have Lenrod here joining the chat. And if you like what we're doing here at King Dolphin TV, John Rendell says, "Hail, kitty cat." He sees Maverick. He sees Maverick over there. If you like what we're doing here, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're continuing to be small, but we're mighty, and we're doing good things with all these interviews. So without further ado, we shall welcome Lin Caywood and Mary Wunder from the 99s. You've met Lin previously on our female pilot forum, and we're going to be talking the 99s and the Air Race Classic that they hold. So as you know, John Rendell says hello, Maverick, and hello to and Mary.
Yeah, we'll have them.
Maverick
says hi.
Maverick says hi. And yes, she's got a goose and also. Goose is around somewhere. So because of our interviews, please hold off on the questions until we get to the end. What we're going to do is I will ask a series of questions that they'll answer, and then we'll start with the question. Snort says, "I like the putty better than the one in the movie." Ooh. So yes, we will again open the questions to the chat. So please hold on to your questions, and we'll have time toward the end. So we will to refresh the memory, since it had been a while. I'm already at 52 episodes already. Yeah. I forgot which one was theirs, but it's been a while since we had the lady pilot team. Yep. So, Lin, tell us a bit about yourself, and Mary, tell us a bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'll start. I am a commercial rated pilot. I'm a certified, certificated flight instructor for instruments and for private pilot and commercial pilots. And I've been flying since about 2002. I started flying, and I have about 2,300 hours now. I am retired recently from mortgage banking, so I just do flight instructing now. And I've been racing since 2010, and I've been in 99 since, oh my goodness, maybe 2005, I think.
Okay. Mary, tell us about yourself.
I'm retired air traffic control, 15 years. I learned to fly in 78 when I met my husband, and he was learning how to fly. And I decided that if it was his turn to go, it didn't need to be my turn to go. So I guess I was always a controller because I wanted to be in control of the situation. And I also have a commercial rating, multi-engine. So I started in 78, got my license in 79, became an air traffic controller in 81, and I think I became a 99 the same year.
Okay.
Thanks to Kate Macario.
Yeah.
So you've been in the 99s for about 40 something years.
Correct.
Oh wow. Great. So Lynn, tell us about the 99s.
All right. Well, the 99s were formed in 1929, and Amelia Earhart was our first president. We got our name through the number of charter members in 1929. There were 117 certificated women pilots at the time, and invitations went out to all the women pilots to create this organization. And 99 responded, and that's how we got our name. So we're around to support women in aviation and to provide mentoring and education and public outreach regarding careers for women in aviation, particularly just for pilots. And to be a member, you need to be a student pilot or a full pilot. We have, I was just looking on the website, we have about almost 6,700 members right now all over the world. And our strongest base, of course, is in the United States. Our home base is in Oklahoma City, right on the airfield. We have two museums. One museum, the Museum of Women Pilots, is on the field where our headquarters is. We have the Amelia Earhart Birthplace Museum, which is in Atchison, Kansas. We have two other trusts. We've got an endowment fund that takes care of our future needs. And we have the Amelia Earhart Scholarship Fund, which takes care of providing scholarships for our members.
I have a question. Coming from Cleveland, I know there is a museum there for women in aviation. Is it affiliated with the 99s?
It is. We're not directly affiliated, but we do share sometimes exhibit information and things like that. But they are an independent museum.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure, but I never got around
to
it. Okay. So they provide a lot of mentoring for pilots, support, scholarships.
Yes.
For sorry about that, guys. But the thing we're here to talk about is the air race. Can you tell us about what the air race is all about?
Mary, you want to tell us?
So, if there was no air race, there'd be no 99s, because in 1929, women could fly, they could test fly, they could wing walk, they could do whatever they wanted, but they weren't allowed to race. That was a man's job. But the Chamber of Commerce in California decided that they would let us race, but we had to be done before the men's race. And of course, if a woman could do it, anybody could do it. So they let us race. But so we went from Santa Monica to Cleveland, Ohio, 9 days. 20 women showed up on the first day, but only 19 took off. One of them had to wait till the next day. And the men were not pleased. They wanted to take a mechanic in with the women, and the women said no, because then they would say the men did it. So they didn't take any mechanics, but they put acid on their wires. They drained their oil. They put sugar in their fuel tanks. They were not nice. And then, of course,
cigarette and a baggage. Yeah.
Yep. So, but that's where we started, 1929. And then, of course, the women decided that because it was such a great experience. I mean, it was a race, but if somebody needed help, they would stay there for them. They didn't leave them. And it just showed you how much the women needed other women, because we fly different than men. We think different than men. So we need our own cheering group.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that air race had some traditions.
Yes.
Yes. Our my shirts.
Matt, yep. We're now the color of my camera is probably off, but the teams traditionally kind of have team shirts, and so kind of team uniforms. We do have usually a lot of collegiate teams that participate, so they'll wear their school colors and things like that. But I mean, if you read some of the books that were written from the races in the 60s and 70s, it's hilarious. I mean, there was one team that dressed up. They were sponsored by a dairy. And they dressed up like milkmaids to wear that outfit the whole race. So we have a sponsor this year, SiriusXM, and they're going to be providing some uniform shirts to us. But luckily, they're not going to have us dress as milkmaids.
Yeah, I was already getting teased in the chat saying I'm kind of out of place because I don't have green on.
That's right. Yeah.
Wish I would have known. I would have
should have
found
keyed you in.
Yeah.
You're an honorary team member.
All right. Legatus Legionized says it must have gotten a lot of attention for sure. So you get team sponsor. We'll talk about that later. So what are the particular rules of the air race class?
We have a book of them. I mean, I don't remember how many pages. It's like 30 pages long of the rules. So there's a lot of rules. Any one will get you disqualified.
Oh, such as?
Such as.
Oh, you want to talk about it then, or you want?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So the race itself is handicapped. So, and it's kind of like golf. We have a lot of different planes flying. So we've got 172s, 182s, Diamonds, Cirrus. And so everybody's a little bit different. So before the race, we take them up in the air, do a handicap flight. They fly at 6,000 feet density altitude, and then they kind of fly cardinal headings, fly a box, and then the average ground speed is calculated. So you're really kind of racing against yourself. You have 4 days to complete the race. This year it's from June 21st to 24. And it's usually the third week of June, which is the longest days of the year. So we can only race during the day. It's day VFR, visual flight rule. So that gives us the longest time to race, that week. The rules that Mary mentioned, we have a lot of them because we have a waiver from the FAA to be flying low and fast around congested areas around an airport. We make sure that we make specific radio calls that we're obligated to make. Also, so the timers know we're coming, the scorers know we're coming. Our lights have to be on. We have to turn out in a specific direction, left or right. Particular radio calls on the ground. We have to allow our airplanes to be inspected. Really not really inspected, but for a safety check at the beginning of the race. And we check at the end of the race to make sure that we have some women mechanics that are racing and know about their planes. And we want to just make sure that they haven't adjusted the timing or been in there and done anything fun or done any maintenance on their airplane during the race, like spark plugs and things like that. So lots of rules around that. Qualification rules too for having to be the pilot. You have to have at least 500 hours of PIC time, or you need an instrument. The co-pilot only needs 100 hours of PIC time. And then any teammate that you might have in the back only needs 5 hours of fixed wing instruction time logged in their logbook, or 5 hours of any type of time, as long as it's fixed wing time. So they can be a student pilot to ride the back.
Okay. Now, you said, okay, so the You have to have a team complement. What is the minimum and maximum? Obviously the pilot, but
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Mary.
So you need two, at least two, and then you can have three. And I doubt that you can fit 4 people with full fuel. So I mean, you possibly could have 4, but 3's usually the max. I don't know that I've ever seen 4. Have you, Lynn?
No, I was looking back, and I don't think we ever have. One of the rules is that we handicap at full fuel, and we also everybody launches with full fuel, and then after that, part of your strategy is how much fuel you want to carry. So you have to be able to fill your tanks and carry whatever people and equipment you want to carry, and still be within CG. So and we do have them run a weight and balance for us to prove that they're within CG.
Okay.
And under gross.
Mm-hmm. And under gross, yeah.
Now, Legatus, I see you're doing a question. We're holding off. Legatus is cool. He comes up with some outstanding questions. But so you have to do your own weight and balance check, and they also do a weight and balance check. Is that correct?
It's online, and we have a special registration tool that is proprietary that we've developed, and they must input the information in there, and then the handicap pilot does review that as well as the race officials will look at it. But it all calculates, gives you a green check if you're within your weight and balance, and it's actually worked out pretty well.
Okay. All right. And so this isn't a race per se, as in like Indianapolis, you've got all the cars leaving at the same time. You're actually leaving in stages. Is that correct?
Right. So we do launch at the beginning on race morning on Tuesday morning when we all launch. The first plane fires up at 8 a.m. and we launch them about 30 seconds apart. So the first 2 stops can be very, very congested and a bit of a melee. After that, things stretch out, and again, you have 4 days to finish the race. It's 2,400 miles, give or take, every year. The course changes every year. So sometimes by day 3, you don't even know you're racing with a lot of people. So it's not the first person to finish. Like you said, it's not like Indianapolis where you go fast and turn left kind of thing, or Reno. But what you're trying to do is beat your set speed. So you have to strategize about wins and where you want to be. Do you want to go in the morning when it's not so bumpy? Do you want to go in the afternoon before thunderstorm or something? You just want to make sure that you have a little strategy there. Yeah, and you can see the courses up there. We start in Lake Florida this year, go across the Gulf Coast there up to all the way. The furthest west is Oklahoma into Kansas, and then we hit Illinois, back down into Tennessee, into Tullahoma, and then make a straight shoot up into Terre Haute, Indiana. The last stop, that Washington, Indiana, which is Little Davies County, we're testing some technology this year, and that is a flyby. You can see that it says fly over only. So there's no requirement to do the low fly past, and there's no timers actually on the field. So we're testing some electronic scoring for that waypoint. And then the final flyby will be at Terre Haute, and that's where the awards banquet will be.
Okay. Now, are all of these airports that you're going to be landing at, are all of them towered, or are they uncontrolled, or?
We only have 2 controlled airports this year, and that's the start and the terminus, and the rest of them are uncontrolled airports.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why we're testing that waypoint, that flyover point, is just in case we've had issues in the past where the towers always want to help us, but if they have to turn somebody around, you've lost the race right there. If you have to on final.
They don't like your approach, so they tell you to go around.
Not necessarily. It's not that they don't like us. I think, if FedEx gets priority over us, or UPS. So we just want to have our contingencies in place. But a launch from the tower is actually very nice. The starts from the towers are very nice because it's very organized. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So do they at the start of the race, do they make it a TFR or temporary flight restriction, or do they just because obviously you're going to have other aircraft there? What do they do? Hold everybody back until the race gets started, or what?
Well, they do put a NOTAM out to let them know that we'll be in the area, and the tower, of course, Lakeland has some Amazon airplanes there, so we'll work around them. But other than that, it's pretty organized.
Yeah, we're out of their hair within about an hour. We can launch 50 planes in an hour, so
That's true.
yeah. So hopefully, usually everybody's very accommodating, but if there's somebody that has to get the hot cookie somewhere, they let them launch.
Oh, airport cookies are the best.
Exactly.
Airport cookies are the best. So what is the least amount of airplanes you've seen in an air race, and what is the most? Or do they stay consistent throughout the...
So the last few years, we've been averaging around 50 airplanes. The first race in 2010 that I was in, we had a field of 65, which is where we cap right now. I don't know what year it was, Mary. In the 70s, there were 200 planes in one of the races in the early 70s. But again, as low as the first race only had 20 airplanes, and we have had a few races where only 20 airplanes participated.
Okay. And we've talked about, we've shown you the course, and we've also, you said it's 4 days and it's daylight hours. And it's VFR conditions, visual flight rule.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, you can get eliminated if you end up having to file IFR. Or we had teams in 2019. We had some extremely marginal weather, and some teams got stuck in some weather. And we had one that made their own kind of IFR route. So they ended up getting disqualified. But you definitely have to fly visual flight rules.
So they don't take into account that suddenly you may have on one particular leg you get slammed with weather.
That's strategy. So you decide to launch, or you decide to take the risk, and it happens. I mean, we had another. Were you part of the in 2012 the group that Mary? Were you?
No, I didn't get stuck there. No.
Oh, okay.
What was their name?
We had a group that it'll come to me in a minute, but there were 12 planes actually in 2012, I think it was, that got stuck. They almost got stuck in Canada. They were diverting a pop-up thunderstorm hit. They ended up landing at an off-route airport and all sitting there and sharing their snack bags with everybody. We had in 2014, which actually, that film, we'll talk about that. That was we had a documentary made during that race. We got up. I was one of the first teams to get up into the mountains. We were going from Concord, California, up through that kind of the northern route to Oregon, and then kind of turned right through Elko, Nevada, and into Pinedale, Wyoming. And in Elko, Nevada, a big snowstorm started hitting. And teams got stuck there. I think it was about a dozen teams that didn't make it on time to the finish. They eventually got to the finish, but they got eliminated because they got stuck there, iced over for 2 days.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're in June with your shorts and no jackets, and using the credit card to get the ice off of your wings. I wasn't part of that either.
Oh, I've done that.
Several of the ladies ended up, I think, spending their unearned winnings at the casino in Elko.
Um, so okay, so there are some pitfalls to the race, that you could be stuck somewhere. Now, if you're stuck somewhere, do you still hold your your current times to that spot, or do you have to, and then you can continue on?
It depends if it was part of the race route. If it's part of the race route, then your time stops and you continue on when you take off again. If you're off course, then that clock keeps going.
Yeah. So that's one of the rules, is that we have, when you saw the route, there were those, those stops. None of them are mandatory. We have had mandatory ones, like when we went into Canada in 2019, we had a mandatory stop where everybody had to clear customs. But you have the option. So you launch from Lakeland. If you have enough fuel, you can fly by that first spot, or you can land. But if you fly over, that's why we have these flyby spots. So you make these radio calls 10 miles out, Classic Racer 12, 10 miles out, inbound, either to land or inbound to continue. So flyby to continue or flyby to land is actually what we say. So you make that declaration, and then if you once you've crossed the timing line, then you can cool down, come back in, land, and you can sit there and be off the clock.
Okay.
But if you decided that you needed fuel halfway between Lakeland and the first stop, and decided to just land at another airport, or you had a mechanical or something, the clock keeps ticking. So, again, strategy. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. So you want to be able.
We have an award for that. It's called the Turtle Award.
The last person, the last person that legally makes it in with the longest time. Then when you land, if you want to spend the night, we have what's called a remain overnight list. And you have to sign that list. And again, this is where penalties come up. So a lot of times, my strategy is, I sign it every time I land. And then you cross your name off if you take off. Because if you leave your name on the list, they assume that you've stayed. And if you disappear, then they don't know what happened. So many a friend has gotten a penalty for that.
Okay.
And then that's the launch order the next morning, which can be very strategic. So you can launch as early, usually around 6:30 in the morning, whenever they declare kind of sunrise. It's ARC sunrise, not necessarily actual meteorological sunrise. But if Team 6 signs the remain overnight, then they get first option to take off in the morning. Now, if they're not ready, if they decide to have pancakes back at the hotel instead of get the plane ready, then they lose their order, their launch order. But it can be very strategic, especially when it's a storm.
Okay. So do they keep their order? Do they keep their order of takeoff and landing, or do they lose it based on times, or?
Not landing. Once you take off, you take off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just you've got an opportunity. The taxiway is clear. Yeah. You can taxi and you can take off. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, it's not the same as as an Indianapolis 500 race.
In fact, Mary, we've she's got a little bit faster airplane. This year we're racing together, but she races her Mooney usually, and she's had the pleasure of passing me a few times in the air.
And let me tell you, we go just as fast as those Indy guys.
We do.
Faster. So
True.
My handicap this year is about I can't remember if it's 164 or 165 miles. I think it's 164 and some change this year.
Okay. So you can't firewall it, take it to the yellow line.
Oh no, it is firewalled.
You can, but it's you handicap at full throttle, lean for best power. And then depending on your strategy of what altitude you've picked to get the best wins, I have seen the barber pole coming in for a low pass.
Okay, the barber pole.
So after your airspeed indicator has
Okay.
a big green section of hey, this is great operating speed, and then there's a yellow section that says, hey, you know what? Unless you're in smooth air, don't be doing stupid pilot tricks.
And the red one is.
Then there's a red line that says never exceed. And then after the red line, there's a red and white candy stripe that looks like, the barber pole.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I've never seen it. That's why I was.
Oh, okay.
I've.
Don't ask me how I know it's there.
I didn't know that either, Raymond.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Mary. I'm out of the hook.
Yeah, Mary Wunder.
Especially since the flight. I got a flight instructor back here, and
That's right.
I may get something thrown at me. Okay, so this is your first time, the two of you flying together.
Yes.
Well, in a race.
In a race. We fly together. We were the ground ops team, or part of the ground ops team. I was a ground ops lead for the 2019 race. We were going to race together, but we had some challenges with personal and things like that. So we opted to just run the race as operations, which was really kind of cool. But
Okay.
yeah.
And this is the first race run since the bug hit.
Since 2019.
Since 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We did do a derby, which was a one-day event, kind of create your own adventure kind of thing, where we let everybody. We had some parameters. You had to kind of a prediction run. You had to fly 5 65-mile legs, so you could get it done in a couple hours. And so we did that derby format last year, but we didn't do anything in 2020.
Okay. Let's see here. And actually, I will show. I'll show your team colors. Bear with me, StreamYards tends to be slow when you're sharing pictures. There's the Team Supreme.
Yep.
The Team Supreme, ready to rock the sky.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Good.
We took that in Florida
Okay.
in February.
During Sun and Fun, or?
It was during. Mary was down there for the winter, and I was down there for a conference.
Okay.
So we were able to connect and take a picture. So.
Okay. So what made you two decide to join up to do the race? Just the fact you've flown together and you decided to team up.
Well, my personal thing is I think the Cessnas have a little better advantage. Now, it could just be the pilot in the Mooney, but I'm looking to do a little better in a Cessna. So,
Okay.
and I'm looking to keep her out of trouble.
That's Mary works her mouth for us. She's the mouth of the organization for me. But yeah, I had a regular race partner from 2010 through 2016, with the exception of 2015, and then she stopped flying. So I have flown with different partners through since then. And when Mary and I kind of looked at each other and said, "Let's do this." It's been several years in the making.
Okay. Cool.
We're going to try it this time for sure.
What are the duties of the co-pilot of the team?
Well, we haven't really defined them yet, but no, seriously. So I'll be keeping an ear out for like where everybody is, because like my air traffic, like I know where everybody is. Like if I'm on the radio, I know where everybody is. So like if there's somebody that is 15 knots slower than us and they're beating us, then it's something to think about. There's airspace that we have to keep clear of. Just make sure that we do all the mandatory stuff. So I don't know whether she's going to make me do the chocks or not, and that's an inside joke.
We'll have to talk about that. But so essentially, I'm going to take the flying duties. I'm going to fly left seat, and I'm going to work the engine because it's my airplane and I kind of know the best way to tweak it. And I fly, but essentially she's the navigator and she's got a 51% vote. So we both make a decision on the weather, but if Mary's not comfortable about something, my co-pilot always has the extra percent to overrule anything. So she's not a captive audience and we still are friends at the end of the day.
I understand.
Yep.
And of course, each leg you have to file a flight plan. That's no.
You can, but and the air race used to make us file like air race flight plans, but some of the newer teams can file, or if the school requires them, they'll file flight plans. But no, we are, ADSB has kind of taken the Mickey out of all of it, but you launch and your VFR, you can talk to ATC if you want, or you have to if you want to go through airspace. Mm-hmm. But pretty much you're on your own. And we fly in a lot of G airspace out west. We like to race out west a lot.
Okay.
And Raymond, if you file a flight plan, you have to remember to cancel it.
Cancel it.
Of course
probably
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
And for search and rescue, we are carrying spot trackers. You'll be able to watch us on the website. We have, I think it's called Track Leaders, is providing every race team plus some of the support teams will have these spot trackers, and you'll be able to real-time track us. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Sort of like a different version of FlightAware.
This it is.
Right.
And you'll be, and that way you won't have to, in FlightAware, you're limited to so many planes to track or whatever, but this flight tracker software allows us to post everybody with their team number. They've got our bios come up. It's kind of cool. It's like a real, little sports cast thing, and no commentary, but it's very fun.
Oh, cool. All right.
But speaking of commentary, we won't have them at all the airports, but liveatc.net will be the airports that do have that equipment will be covering us.
Okay. All right. And okay, you said SiriusXM is your sponsor. Tell us about that.
So we've by some knowing some folks, we were able to ask SiriusXM to provide some support to us. They are primarily providing our uniforms to us and some behind the scenes support, but we're very grateful to have that opportunity. It's not cheap to race. And so, and we're both retired now. So getting in all donations.
And that Cessna uses a lot more fuel than my Mooney.
No way to make gas. No way to make gas.
Right, really. We burn, as you know, I mean, I can lean that plane out to, at 8,000 feet. If I want to fly and lean a peak, I can lean that thing out to 9 gallons, 10 gallons an hour or something. But when we're racing, it's anywhere from 16, 17 gallons all the way up to, if we're at sea level and it's hot out, we're burning 20, sometimes 22.
Yeah. Those planes.
It's going to be a cheap. Yeah, not going to be a cheap race this year.
No, not even. Okay. And so you were on an interview, but SiriusXM interviewed you. I guess that's part of the payback for the sponsorship. You had to get interviewed.
Yep, I got interviewed. I'm up on their pilot stories on their aviation website, SiriusXM's aviation website, and there's some cool stories in there. And I'm also Mary and I play some dual roles on the safety officer for the Air Race Classic. Mary is head of the airplane division, so she qualifies all the planes to meet our parameters that we have, and so. Everybody kind of plays a little extra part too.
Okay, so you're like double dutying.
Exactly. But once the flag drops, we're only racers for those 4 days, and then we got to put our hat back on after we land at the finish.
Okay. I put the link out there for the interview that you had. So if anybody's
Oh,
interested,
nice.
Yeah.
if
Thank you.
anybody's interested in it, there you go. So let's see. And Air Race Classic has its own documentary.
Yes, we do.
I remember the banquet on that one.
Yeah. So we in 2013, I actually met the filmmakers at Oshkosh, which is big, AirVenture, big aviation kind of convention every summer, and they were looking actually for a connection with the 99s because they wanted to get a hold of Louise Thaden's airplane that she won the first air race class, national air race in, which then was called dubbed the Powder Puff Derby. It's called the Powder Puff Derby until the 70s. And when we took over the air race, we called it the Air Race Classic. But so I connected them and I said, hey, have you ever thought about comparing the original air race to the modern day air race? There had been a previous documentary in 2010 about just the history of the original air race. And I said, it would be kind of cool to, follow some of the modern racers and see what they do. So I never heard back from them. And then in January of 2014, they called and said, hey, are you serious about this? And, we're thinking we really want to do this. So we got them some approvals. And the only way that they could film in my plane was if the person filming was a crew member and qualified. So, it was a husband and wife team. He was a pilot. He became a student pilot, got her required hours, and qualified to be a crew for us. And so she filmed. She had a limitation. She could only take 7 pounds of equipment with her. Mm-hmm. And so she filmed from the outside, and her husband Adam, that was Kara White, and her husband Adam did all the ground filming. And again, our briefings and things like that are closed to the public, but we allowed them to be in there to film our briefings and film the start and the terminus and the banquet. And subsequently did not win, but won several leg prizes. I think I won 4 leg prizes that year. And I think Mary beat me by 1 spot, right?
I don't remember. Show them your leg prize charm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. See the swag.
The swag.
Whoa.
So you get these little round charms. I don't know if you can see them very well or not. But these are for their, they give first through 4th place. We'll back up. So this is if you actually come in the top 10. Which way do I go? This way. If you come in the top 10, you get a medal. So and you get some cash. Mm-hmm. So after that, the teams that are the top scorers on each leg, they go 1 through 4 top scorers, and you get these little brass leg prizes, which is
per leg.
Per leg.
So you can make a lot of. So you can get a lot of charms on one race.
Yeah, this is kind of like the bracelet of shame. But and then every year we give a little root charm, and this little charm has I don't think you're going to be able to see that at all, but it's got little red stones, and the root is along the map of the United States.
Oh, okay, very cool.
So that's nice. So everybody gets this at the start. So just for participating, you get the little charm, but you have to earn the little leg prizes. Then if you race, if you have to complete at least 1 leg of the race, you can get a this is our logo, a medallion. You can get a little medallion to wear, and if you're a racer, you can put a little clear stone. Some people put real diamonds in there, but I've just got like fake stuff in there for every year that you participate. And then if you're on the board of directors, I don't know if you can see on this one, there's blue. If you're on the board of directors, you get blue. You get a one with blue stones in it. I got some other miscellaneous charms. The air race. This was our derby from last year. I covered it up. I'm bad about that. But and what else do I have? Oh, our 90th anniversary pin. So
and your plaque.
And yeah, oh yeah, you get a plaque. Everybody now you have to finish the race, right, to get the plaque. And you get everybody gets a race route plaque, and some of our volunteers, our key volunteers, will get these as well. So we give these out at the terminus, so at the banquet. So you have to everybody who I don't even think you have to actually finish. I think as long as you participated in the race, you get the plaque at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Occasionally some cash to offset some of the expenses, and then we get donated prizes, headsets, luggage, things like that, and so that's very nice to enhance kind of the prize packages.
Yeah. Okay, and we've talked about the airplane. Let us see. Freaking awesome.
Yeah.
There it is, guys. There's the airplane that will win the Air Race Classic.
We like your way of thinking.
We're rooting for you here at the pod.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this was taken up at Lancaster, Pennsylvania, when I was doing the handicap flight a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the plane. I've flown it, and it's a nice plane.
Yeah.
But
it's
about it.
It's a 2007 Cessna 182. It's a T model. It's not turbo, but it's a T model, not a T182. And I bought it new in 2007, and it has raced every year since 2011, except for 2013 and 2019. We didn't race, but it's got a 540 cubic inch engine in it, 6 cylinders, and it trues around 146-ish. The book says 147, but true airspeed. But again, the miles per hour is around 164, 165 miles an hour. And it's a
plus it's got
G1000 with the integrated autopilot on it. I do have VGs on it, which takes about a knot off of everything, but it also it takes about 8 knots off the stall speed. So it's a very maneuverable plane. We call it the mom van of the sky. If it fits, it ships, kind of thing. And so it's just super reliable airplane.
Oh, so it does have a stall kit?
I have vortex generators on it.
Okay.
It doesn't have the full stall kit with like the whiskers and everything, but I have the little vortex generators on all the leading edges, okay, and along the vertical stabilizer.
Okay. Well, there it is, guys. The winning airplane.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Yes.
And a great flyer too. All right. Okay. We have Pudgy Hedgehog says Pudgy Ponders is Mary like Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the south of Airplane Town.
Well, I'm retired air traffic, so Lynn could probably tell you the story about me and where the heck were we? Out west somewhere. Where?
We were north of Detroit. We were in Selfridge's airspace. We were Michigan. I'm not sure I'm welcome back in their airspace, but
no, I was talking about when we took off from Concord. We're going up to Portland, and they wanted us to go overhead the one Air Force base, and so I said, I said, let me get this right. At the point that we're going to diverge, you want us to converge, and you're not going to separate us. They want us all to be on 1200 code. So, yeah, I'm pretty mad.
Travis Air Force Base, and she made those poor little Zoomies cry.
She's not kidding. I did.
They had not met the force of Mary Wunder. 21-year-old air traffic controllers didn't know what they'd met.
And also he says the pilot is responsible for opening the pop bottle and bringing donuts.
And that's a teammate's job, but yeah, pop bottle. I have a personal story about that. So as you go up, your air pressure changes, and so don't take Coca-Cola bottles you haven't opened on the ground first, or potato chip bags.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're usually ready for about 7,000 feet before they pop.
All right. Now we get to the fun part. We get to the questions from the chat. And this is always the fun part when we have these interviews.
Yeah.
So, Legatus Legionnaire mentions that the website was saying costs could be as high as $5,600 US for the team. Is that a ballpark figure, or could it get worse, or could it get better?
Well, we have fuel is averaging $7 a gallon right now. So if I'm burning 18 gallons per hour, and it takes about 20 hours to fly the race.
That's true.
And then we're not sleeping in a tent, so you have hotel rooms.
Plus hotel rooms.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. At this and we front load at the start and the terminus now because we're on the board of directors. The race doesn't start till the 21st, but we're getting to Lakeland, Florida on the 15th of June.
Okay, so you're doing all the preparatory work before the race.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Next question. Lenrod asks, are there restrictions on aircraft power plant? And tongue in cheek, he says, could you slap a rocket motor on there to go super fast?
No. I'm in charge airplane. No.
So no JATO.
Yeah. So it's Mary, you want to talk about what the basic qualifications are?
Well, you can't have any turbo, or no experimentals, no helicopters. You have to be able to fly full throttle and not run out of gas.
Yeah. So it's stock or modified stock. Minimum horsepower of 100. Maximum of you can have 2 engines, maximum of 300 per engine. And you have to be able to fly. You can't have any continuous power limitations on your engine, which a lot of the new overhauls only allow 5 minutes of continuous power. I teach in an RV12, and you can only do 5 minutes of continuous power. And again, a lot of the overhauls, even like Coming and Continental, have some of those restrictions now.
Okay. All right. We got us asks, is it a race where it is the time in the air that's counted? Those with the lowest time to complete the distance wins?
Your best score over your handicap wins. So like if Lin's handicap is 167 and we do 174, 180, and somebody else does, like 20 over their handicap, then they'll beat us. You know what I mean? So it's over your handicap.
Yep. So you want to beat. If I go slower because I picked the wrong time to fly or the winds or whatever, and I can't make my handicap, then the odds are very low that I'm going to place. The closest I came was one year. I think I was negative 0.15, and or positive. I was under the handicap versus over the handicap, and I came in 3rd place. That's the best I've done, and I was sure with that tight, because again, a lot of times we'll see people with 20. They'll get a good tailwind, and they'll be plus 20.
But there are races that or you have a headwind. Like, so nobody beat
That
their
was the race that was all headwind. Yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
headwind on every leg.
Looking at this, and actually looking at this course, you're gonna have a lot of headwind at the very beginning.
Exactly. But you never know, because we have flown courses where, in June, you also don't know what that weather's going to do. So if you get on a certain side of a front, you may end up actually with the tailwind for part of it. So
Okay.
that's part of figuring out where you're going to fly. So if the low or the high is sitting, north or south of you, you're going to decide which way you're going to go for the winds.
Okay. Lenrod asks, does anybody do the race with World War II era craft? It feels like a P-51 or B-17 may have an unfair advantage.
Those guys are experimental category these days, so they don't qualify. But we did have a Navion, which is a 1940s model airplane, and they've raced several years.
Okay. Let's see. And he also asks, if anybody wants to track your flight, how do we get your link? You could put that in the private chat if you've got it.
Oh yeah. So our flight, like I said, you can go to the airraceclassic.org, and I think you might have that link that you can put. It's just
I think
airraceclassic.org.
so.
And on the front page of our website during the week of the race, it will have the race course or a link to flight track leaders, and you'll be able to track us all there.
Okay, great. Legatus asks, do you get a checkered flag at the end of the race?
Not at the end, but at the beginning we do. We have an honorary starter that will wave the flag for us, which is kind of cool. When you're towered, you have to get that permission to take off, so it's not quite as fun to see the flag dropping. But at the finish, all you want is a cold bottle of water when you land, or some other adult beverage.
Okay, and Sandra wanted to talk about the start and terminus we did in Frederick. Let's see.
Oh yeah. So I actually, because I'm a glutton for punishment, in 2010 we hosted. That's how I got involved with the air race. We hosted the terminus, and that was a lot of fun. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know any better. I didn't know anything about the race. We were approached and asked if we would be the terminus. And at the time, we did not have a tower. We didn't get the tower until 2012. So it was very exciting. I got asked to race. So again, like an idiot, I raced and was the terminus chair. But my plane was damaged by a renter. I was leasing it out as well at the time to a flight school. And the plane was damaged. So I ended up flying. My race partner was able to procure another plane, and we still ended up racing. But it was a lot of fun. We had a big banquet, and to be able to see everybody get their prizes, like I said, it's kind of like crack. So then the bug bit. So my race partner for the first several races was Susan Bell, and we knew each other very well. We were trained in the same flight school, so we had the same mannerisms and understandings for how we would fly the plane. So we did that for several years. And then in 2017, we agreed, our 99s chapter said, hey, we had so much fun in 2010. Let's do this in 2017, but let's be the start. So again, everybody kind of pointed their elbows at me. I ended up as the start chair. And again, against my best interest, I also raced that year. Subsequently was disqualified, but it was a lot of fun. We had we went to the Keys baseball, which
I remember that one. That was a fun.
Yeah, at the time they were an Orioles feeder team, and we had a little flyby done with a bunch of RVs and stuff. It was really really fun, and again, a welcome banquet where we were able to introduce the racers to the public, and we had over 250 people, I think, at that banquet. So it was a lot. The baseball field was filled. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed that was packed. I went to the Keys game and it was good. Let's see. There's some questions out here. John Rendell asks, do they still do the oval style airplane races? And if so, how many planes can race at once?
Excellent question. So the only kind of closed course racing that's still out there is Red Bull, which is one plane at a time that flies that course. But then out in Reno, Nevada, every year in September, they have the National Air Races still there, or National. Yeah, they've changed the name of it because whoever sponsors them, gets to name the race now. But those we just call it Reno. The Reno Air Races is the fly fast, turn left kind of races, and that course, Mary, do you know how many they limit? Is it 5? They usually.
I don't know.
I think the heats. Yeah, they fly it in heats, so it's like you get 3 chances. I think it's 3 heats. And I believe they limit it to about 5 planes because that is flat out speed racing. And they have jet classes. They have a lot of the P-51s that are highly modified race in the Unlimited. They have, but they actually have, they've had, I know there was an April Fool's joke that went out that said they were racing 150s, but they actually do have a course where they're racing highly modified 150.
Wow.
That must be something to see. Little putters going put.
Yeah. Well, you can get those things pretty fast if you soup up the engine, just like any kind of little race car.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cobalt Eagle says, "Oh, that's why Sirius XM costs so much. They have to buy uniforms."
Exactly. Those T-shirts. You bought me a T-shirt. Thank you.
Actually, those are nice shirts.
Well, these are Air Race Classic shirts. So at the start, until we become the Team 12, we usually wear our Air Race Classic logo shirts. Mm-hmm. Then we'll switch over to the Sirius XM shirts for the race.
Okay.
And then at the terminus, and it's a little intimidation during the briefings too. We like to wear our team.
Are they all decked out with the logos and stuff like that, or is it just strictly that?
A lot of the ladies, again, the college teams are used to wearing uniforms kind of thing. But yeah, that's the fun part of it is dressing and being that cohesive, making that team. Mm-hmm. And then we have, again, another little tradition during at the mandatory briefings. If you don't show up or you're late, you get fined. And so when they do roll call, sometimes instead of just people like here kind of thing, people come up with chants. They come up, I yell my team name. And so it's really a lot of fun to you get some giggles out of the girls when you do that.
Okay, Legatus Legionary asks, so you want to, when they determine your handicap, this is a good question. You want to, when they determine your handicap, to be slightly slower or faster strategy?
Well, we take great pains to not allow any gaming of the handicap, and that's in the past. I'll tell you, for years, it was book speed. So if people knew certain airplanes could beat the crud out of whatever was published in the pilot operating handbook. So people would scramble to find an airplane that could beat book speed. So now, and then for several years, they only handicapped, random airplanes. So again, book speed played a lot of it. But now we have an observer part of, that's an excellent question, because when you go up and fly your handicap flight, you replace the co-pilot with an air race kind of quote unquote official, a handicap pilot that sits in the plane and observes and will verify that you're doing your best to make best speed. And then if we're having a doubt, like say I set my speed, again, they gave me, I think, close to 47 knots this year. So if I show up at the race, my handicap looks like there's no way I could have really flown that fast. They'll re-handicap me at the finish.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I take it that's not good.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's good. Sometimes people just, you had a bad day. Sometimes you really had great strategy. I've seen some people kind of drop a few places because of that, but I've also seen people go up in place too. So you can't think the worst when they call you for a handicap flight.
Okay. And everybody's got to get handicapped.
Everybody has to be handicapped. We do have some non-competition teams that can choose to not get handicapped in there. Like, we had a university that it was their first time out. They were highly competitive and they didn't know how it all worked. So they decided to go non-competition their first year. We have people that get mechanical problems, and we had a problem with the continuous full power with one of the planes. They didn't realize until they finally read their engine manual that they had a limitation on their engine. So after registering, instead of dropping out, they went ahead and raced non-competition. So this year we have a couple planes that are helping us gather some data around electronic data monitoring. Again, like my plane, a lot of the more modern planes that have kind of glass cockpits have data cards in them that can tell us what their, what the engine output is throughout the entire race. And so we're looking at potentially for the planes, again, that have continuous power issues, can we allow them to race if we set their handicap based on a specific RPM or something like that?
Okay. All right. Let's see. Here. Lenrod comments, there was a multi-plane circuit air race at AirVenture 2010, all World War II warbirds.
Yeah.
What?
There's a couple. There is a sport air racing league out there. AirVenture runs the AirVenture Cup every year. There are a couple of races. There's some other ones being revived that are more prediction kind of races out in California and things like that. But the AirVenture Cup is flat out speed based on category though. So they'll say, okay, all 182s, whoever the fastest is, from start to finish, no handicapping, you're the winner kind of thing. So that's, I don't know if you've seen things like, what was the one, Turbulence, and a couple of other, the Patey's plane that he built, the Lance Air Legacy thing is faster than Reno race planes. And he took the thing up to 18,000 feet and just wiped everybody out of the field one year.
Wow.
And that leads to a question I've got. Is there an altitude block or maximum altitude you can go? You can go up to.
You can go wherever you want as long as your plane's capable of it. But when you think about kind of the logistics and the physics and all that stuff of it, is the fastest way from point to point is a straight line. If you're spending your time climbing, are you going to get it back descending? That's some of the strategy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that race in 2014 when we were actually doing well till about the sixth leg after we got out of the mountains. And we kept looking at the weather and it said, and there was a problem with the cloud deck too. And if you got up over it and you climbed all the way to 9,000 feet or 9,500 feet, because we're VFR, you could get a 20 knot tailwind, a 25 knot tailwind. But if you were below that cloud deck, if you couldn't find a hole to get through it, and you were stuck at, a couple thousand feet, we had 20 knots or 25 knots on the nose. And that's the way we lost the race in, because we chose to stay legal. I'm not accusing people who got up over it, but at least when I went through, there weren't any holes. But it's, that's the strategy. You choose, if you climb that high, are you going to make that speed back up?
That's true. And obviously no scud running.
Well, it is marginal. I mean, marginal is VFR. So there is a little bit of scud running going on. But you got to be legal. You can't break. We don't have any waivers to break FARs.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to stay legal.
Mm-hmm.
There are people watching us, including the FAA.
Oh yeah.
So, we have to, like I said, the waiver that we have is for the airports that are specific to the route. And it says that we're allowed to fly fast and low, over those airports to conduct our flybys and our operations there. We do dual flybys. That's kind of exciting, So again, we have, we launch in race order. So I could have 172s in front of me. I could have, we've had little tailwheel airplanes, Citabrias, and race. And as long as they have the fuel range, they can race. And, you get, so again, you might catch up and pass them or have a good leg and pass somebody. So I knew I did well one year when I passed a 182 RG that had intersect up and I managed, and they launched before us, and I managed to beat them handily 10 miles. I think there was about a 10-mile gap on that one.
Nice.
But I've only done one duel. I don't know, Mary, have you done any duels?
I've done a bunch.
You've done a bunch.
I've done a bunch.
She likes the thrill. I like to get
so much fun.
like that double engine.
Yeah.
Double engine action. Legatus asks, along with your medallions, do you get ribbons that you can add to your flight uniform to show your wins instead of having your neck look like Mr. T?
That would be so cool. We'll have to make up. We don't have military ribbons. I don't have a row of ribbons, but that would be really cool. And we'll have to think about that, Mary. We'll have to
Yeah. See if we can talk about that at the board meeting.
Yeah. We'll have to put our little and on the World War II airplanes where you get I call it the kill line. I don't know what they really call it. You shoot down an airplane. And you get the little bomb with the X on it or whatever. We'll have to figure out.
Put the little bird thing on to show how many.
Exactly.
Put that bird logo on to show how many races you've been in, or that plane has been in.
We'll have to think about that. I only have one on there right now. I have the Air Race logo on there, but we'll have to figure out how to mark the years. I have my Oshkosh years stickers, because they give those out every year. So we'll have to think about that.
And Pudgy Hedgehog has a comment about Mary's overnight stay. She stays at a good hotel, not a cheapy one, with a magic finger bed too.
Have you ever been to Alliance, Nebraska? There are no nice hotels in Alliance.
We stayed at the original base motel in Alliance, Nebraska. So again, the stories are the greatest. So we had to reposition out there because the start was supposed to actually be in Iowa City that year, Iowa. And the weather was so bad that we had to reposition and restart the race at Alliance, Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And we stayed at this, I don't know what it was supposed to be, but the pool was all like dilapidated. There was like furniture in it. They were supposedly fixing it. We went into the room, my race partner and I, and we turned on the air conditioner and like bird feathers and dirt and stuff. And this is no lie. We had the only furniture to sit on besides the bed was a blue velvet like recliner chair, and neither of us wanted to sit in it. We had these like threadbare little hand towels. I mean, that's like all they gave us, and we like laid them on the bed and like slept on the towels. So filthy.
The no-tell motel.
It was nasty.
I think the best though I stayed at was we were in Hot Springs. Is that Arkansas?
Arkansas, yeah.
Hot Springs, Arkansas. And it was 105 degrees on the ground. And I did not have a good leg or that day with my race partner. And we were late getting in. And the hotels that were like 5 miles from the airport, which is down in the valley of Hot Springs, they were all sold out. So the only place we could go was an old fancy spa for hot spring spa up in town, which is like up the hill. And we get in there, and it turns out, and it absolutely stunning. It's like a 1920s, 1930s hotel, 1920s hotel. And it turned out that it was where Al Capone used to keep one of his girlfriends. So the thing, like in the 20s, it would have been opulent. It still fairly was. But, and the whole basement of the thing was the spa, the pool, and everything, Sulphur Springs. Unfortunately, I have a sulfur allergy.
Oh.
But we had a steak dinner. We sat down. This is like an unbelievably gorgeous time, and we made the best of it. And that was probably the best hotel I ever stayed at.
Nice. Okay, let's see. John Rendell says, what is a knot as opposed to a mile per hour? It's about a mile and a quarter.
Yeah, it's like 1.1, 1.2 roughly. So again, 146, 47 knots ends up being about 164, 165 miles per hour.
Okay. Let's see.
So it's nautical miles, not kilometers, like in the car.
Yeah. Or statute miles.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you made lifelong friends from this competition races as opposed to lifelong rivals?
Absolutely. We actually call it fly camp. So it's kind of like, it's adult summer camp for women pilots. And we have made lifelong friends. There are a few very competitive women, but there's nobody that I would say, I'll never speak to that person ever again. But they can be very different when they're on the course. But at the end of the day, we all kind of stick together, and that's how the 99s was formed at the end of the Cleveland Air Races in 1929. Amelia and all those women got together and said, you know what? We need to stick together, and we need to form an organization that supports us. And
they did.
That's what the Air Race Classic is. And we have people that have raced 25 years. And I don't know what the average is, but we do have a lot of first-time racers. This year, our field is, I think, 50% is first-time racers. Either the whole team is first time, or just one person on the team, it's their first time. So I'm hoping that our little veteran experience is going to help us out a little bit.
Good. Let's see. Just a couple of comments concerning your hotel. John Rendell says, pilot, I'd like to report a bird strike. ATC affirmative. Where's your position? I'm standing in front of the air conditioner in my hotel room.
Exactly. I thought for sure we were going to walk away with the disease from that place.
Yeah.
The other great one was, remember the Monument Motel in Scottsbluff, Nebraska?
Oh, yeah.
That was another Bates Motel special. It was like 20 miles away in the dark, in the rain, and we get picked up in this rickety old car, and we weren't sure we were going to be alive, in the morning.
Wow.
But God bless them. They were great people.
Lenrod says Capone kept people in all sorts of places. His largest still was located not far from his place.
That's awesome. Well, he picked a good spot in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Except for, I'll tell you, it gets stinking hot there.
Okay. Guys, keep popping the questions. We still got a little bit of time here. Here's the controversy. John Rendell starting. What is the prevailing theory of the fate of Amelia Earhart among pilots?
She's dead.
Yeah.
I'll cut to the chase. She didn't survive. No. So,
but who did it?
So there's a lot of great research. I was actually, I think it was around 2015 when Ballard, who found the Titanic, decided to get involved. And there's a group called TGAR which has been in search of her airplane for years.
Mhm.
They do have some great, compelling information. A lot of, and I love a great conspiracy. So a lot of great, if you're into conspiracy theory, that Amelia Earhart's the one. She didn't show up as a prisoner of war in Japan. But there is some feeling that, especially if you're a ham operator, that that she may have actually survived the crash, and on Gardner Island, and that she made some radio calls, and they believe that she was stuck in the plane, or she got out of the plane. The tide on that island where they have found some evidence is very high. So she either drowned in the plane and it fell under the shelf. I don't know if you heard the whole story, but again, when Ballard got involved, he loaned Tegar one of his remote submarines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that island has, instead of going down like this, the shelf under the island goes the opposite direction. So this little, and it's very jagged, and the little submarine got under, on the first foray out, the little submarine got under that shelf, and they wrecked it and got stuck.
Oh.
Like busted a $2 million submarine. So, but he has gotten involved in it again. And they do have some photographic evidence also from a British frigate that was looking. They had scuttled a boat over at that island as well, and there's some photographic evidence of an airplane upside down, on the beach. So I don't know. Again, she did not survive, but.
Now, of course, if you watch Star Trek Voyager, you know she's in the Delta Quadrant.
Exactly. Exactly.
But just one.
That was an awesome story.
Yes.
That was an awesome episode.
Yeah.
Legatus asks, is it an annual race once a year, or are there other races during the year you can compete in? That's a good question.
That is a good question. There are some. We run this race annually. Of course, we didn't get to. The only times it hasn't raced was in 1941 to 44. They suspended it for the war, and then in 1973 or 4, I can't remember. They didn't race because of the OPEC issue, and they couldn't get fuel. And then we didn't race in 2020 or 2021. But again, we're going to. We had that Derby last year. We're going to have the Derby again this year. There's the Palms to Pines race, which actually was a rival of our race. They suspended it for several years. They're trying to revive that out in California. There's another one in Lake Havasu called the Havasu 600. But there is no other race that's 4 days long that is as involved. Most of them are day races or a 2-day race. There's another one called I think men can compete in that one. So it's not restricted just to women. And I think that's it. And like I said, there's a sport air racing league that some of the pilots that race in the Air Race Classic participate in that.
Okay.
Any others, Mary?
Does the Great Southern still go on, or is that done?
Great Southern, they are reviving that. There's one that goes through the Bahamas, through the islands, and that's a fun one. And then, actually, one of our pilots that won the air race in 2 separate years, not 2 years in a row, I don't think, but she actually races her plane at Reno now. So she stepped up. Diana Stanger, she's one of the few women that race at Reno. She actually has a stable of planes now. She's got 2 or 3 that are gonna race this year. She races her L-139. She's got a Lancer Legacy, and what else does she have, Mary? She's got something. She's got a L-39, I think, too.
Yes, I think so.
And so Debbie Ryan Harvey races for her, and can't think of her name. Blonde hair.
Yep, I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah, but she's got like an all-woman team that races, and that's big league stuff. That's the big leagues.
Okay. Legatus asks, when is it going to be an Olympic sport? I don't know if they can.
That would be fun. Yeah. So they actually tried to get Red Bull approved as an Olympic sport. And I don't think anybody, because again, the airplanes, they don't know if, who's behind, if it's a woman or a man or whatever, but they could have the women's only league and they could have a men's, but there's not a lot of, the airspace, and we have such a great freedom to fly in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To fly anywhere else in the world, you can't just go out and hold a 4-day women's race. Potentially in Canada you can a little bit, but they have a lot more air traffic control rules than we do. In Europe, it is highly regulated. You can't go anywhere unless you're on a flight plan. There is a race in South Africa called the President's Cup that I've actually been invited to race in. So there are some sanctioned races. I'm not saying they aren't, they're not held other places. But, we enjoy some unique freedoms in the United States, whether, I'm not getting political, but that people don't understand how good we have it, especially when it comes to aviation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any more questions out there? Hello, Renier. Thank you for coming. So... any more questions out there that anybody wants to ask? If not, then do you have any closing thoughts, ladies?
Well, we're just excited to get this ball rolling. We're ready to race.
All right.
Yeah.
What was the highest you've ever placed? Either of you?
She placed third.
I came in third in 2015. And
I think I came in seventh, and I don't remember the year. I started in 2008.
Okay.
So it's hard. It's a lot of planning, a lot of luck.
Absolutely.
You may get that thunderstorm pop up on you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 1,000% fun. And if you're not having fun, then you're actually you're totally doing it wrong, because the whole point is having a good time. You're spending a good amount of money, and you do want to win, but it's really to say you did it. It's very unique, and not many of us do it.
And your strategy process, I probably should have asked this earlier.
We're not telling you.
Okay.
Don't even ask.
I won't. That's right.
We've got some strategies. There's some wives' tale strategies too that that people do.
That's right, because this could be out there. People could steal your strategy. So we'll keep this close hold. Yeah. Now there's a controversy here. I don't know why I bring this up. Does pineapple go on pizza?
Absolutely. That'll never be answered. Never be answered in the same voice. Mary and I have different choices, but
that's why they'll let you put 2 toppings on a pizza.
That's right.
Good point. Legata says the strategy is to win. Yes,
absolutely,
exactly. That's our goal this year.
Yeah, to win.
It is every year.
Yes.
More so.
Well, hopefully the pod will bring its good luck in, and you'll win this race hands down.
Well, we hope so. We're very appreciative of being able to be on your podcast, and we appreciate the support from everyone. And please keep an eye out and watch us, and root for us, and we'll do our best.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, glad to have you. Make sure you give us a report at the end. But you guys, John Reynolds says point plane. Where is it? Point plane to finish. Go fast.
Exactly. That's great advice. We're going to take that, John.
And Linrod says, "May the blessings of the pod be upon you." See,
very good.
You got a rooting section here.
Yeah,
you got a rooting section here. So we'll start wrapping us up. I'm glad. I am very glad to have you guys on. When I heard that the 99's Air Race Classic was coming up, I said, oh, yeah, I better bring him on. This will be fun. And shoot, what is it, about 8 years before the 100th anniversary? Wow. Time is flying.
Very close. 90th was in 2018. Yep.
Yeah. So we're talking 6 years. 7 years before the 100th anniversary.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
That'll be a celebration.
I don't know if we'll be racing. Maybe we'll be teammates for a younger pilot. I don't know.
Oh, look at us. He's got to come up with the last. He's got to come up with the last question. At the banquet, at the end of the race, do you have a paper airplane distance challenge or some other fun activity?
You know, we did that at the start in 2017. Not at the banquet, but we did have a paper airplane race, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll have to think about that. But we're definitely going to go for best dressed as well. So
yes, definitely. There, you got it. You got it right there. All right. So, ladies, again, thank you very much. This was very fun, and keep us posted. We'll keep an eye on the link on the flight to see how you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
We'll see you.
All right, and stick around after, so we can go over how we did here.
Okay.
Let's do some show
notes. Documentary. Sorry, did you post the documentary link?
Let's see. Sandra, yes, I think she did.
Okay.
I think she did post the documentary link.
Beyond the Powder. There's a trailer on YouTube, and then you can get the film on Amazon.
Yeah.
I don't make any money off of it, but wish I did.
But she is in it.
I am in it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to see if
the back of my head mostly.
Let's see if it's she put the link to it on Amazon. And there's the
there it is. Okay,
there's the YouTube. Yeah. There's the trailer link if anybody's interested. And then if you want to purchase it, there it is on Amazon.
Thank you.
Yes. So please support the 99, support the team here. Oh, there she did it again. So yes, we will. Okay. So we will start doing some show notes, and then we will wrap it up. Okay. Coming up on King Dolphin for the next, going to have Dillard Draws, a comic book drawer, who will show off some of his work and talk to us about what he does. And on June 4th, we'll have our Just Causes. I'm going to try and get film for my stint at the Martinsburg Comic Con. I'm looking forward to that. I've got a book signing coming up then. We have on June 8th a DS9 discussion with Anti-Derivative Jill talking about bromances and frenemies. On June 15th, we have musician Spencer Richard coming in. Hopefully he'll regale us with some jamming. On June 22nd, we will have Captain Fandom Nerd coming on. And on June 29th, we will have Barbara Clay from Rocky's Ferret Rescue coming in to talk about all the work she does to rescue ferrets. So we have a lot of stuff coming up in June that is going to be fun and informative. And as always, I look forward to all these interviews. So, yes, and if you guys haven't heard, please help out the Comic Relief Crusader either by donating to the GoFundMe or by passing the word on, and help him out. He's a good guy and needs help. Lenrod, it's going to be in Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Wow.
Yep, the Comic-Con. And John Rendell says kibbles to Maverick.
He will take you up on that. He swears he never gets fed.
That sounds like somebody I know.
Oh, and no, I did not win any Academy Awards, but it was nominated for several Emmys.
Okay, cool. See, she's looking as well. So, let me wish everybody who was here a thank you for joining us here in the chat, listening to these fine ladies and air racers. We had Lenrod. We had Rennie A coming in. Thank you. We had Cobalt. And we had Pudgy Hedgehog. The ferrets, don't you let those ferrets out. We'll never find them. We had and then we had the Wrench Team Supreme. We had the Goddess Legionii. We had Snortopupus Cuber. We had Cobalt Eagle. We had and John Rendell here. And of course, keeping everything going, keeping things from getting too out of hand is the amazing Sandra. Sandra, our producer, the lead wrench, and my other half. See, you got applause. And she keeps everything going here. I'm just the voice. So again, ladies, thank you for coming. We all wish you the best of luck, and come bring back a medal, and we'll take a picture of it, and we'll put it on the thing. Sandra's also in the 99s. Yes, we know. She knows. We know.
99.
But is she a racer? Is she going to come race with us?
She needs to.
Yes. She said earlier, I wish I could afford to be on a team.
And if you can, anybody can join Friends of the 99s. We do have a companion organization, so it's not restricted. The core organization is women only, but there is Friends of the 99s if anybody wants to support the 99s.
And spouses of the 99s are the 44 and a half or something like that.
You're a 49 and a half.
49.
You're a 49 and a half.
49 and a half. So.
And you can blame George Putnam on that. We didn't make you a 49 and a half.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, ladies, thank you very much. And thank you all to the chat for coming. Please, if you're new and like what we're doing here, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and pass the word on to show YouTube and everybody else what the good things that we're doing here on King Dolphin TV. So stay safe, stay happy, and have a great week. We'll see you Saturday on Just Cuz.
This segment is brought to you by the DolphinWars.com.